everyone. I don't know how many people are still trickling in right now, but welcome to the Git the Basics Workshop. Git is really important to hackathons, especially at nwHacks or nwPlus hackathons, just because we tend to use it for all of them to kind of have your code somewhere and be able to see it and share it with other people. But yeah, so very important. Really glad you're here, and we're just going to get started. So who am I? I am Joyce. My hair is obviously different from that picture already, but yeah. Anyway, I'm Joyce. I'm the cmd-f logs director. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a third/4th year because of co-op, and I am in the Bachelor of Arts Computer Science program at UBC. So one more thing, it was in the prereqs, but I know that it's been a busy day. So we have a little bit of time before we really get started with Git. So during this time, make sure you install Git, you make a GitHub account, and you download VS Code. So these links can be found in the Hacker Info package, and I would just recommend you go there and get that done before we really get into it so that you can kind of work alongside me and really make sure it sticks with you. So this is our schedule for the hour. We're going to be talking about what Git is, and then we're going to talk about why we use it for a little bit, and then talk about what it is a little bit more, and then we're going to go into how to use it. And there actually is a section in these slides on how to use Git and GitHub. I'm not sure if I'm going to go over that today, but you can feel free to take a look after this workshop on your own. So I just want to say special thanks to Kristen Kwong for letting us adapt her incredible slides for this workshop. So first thing, what is Git? So we're going to define it a little bit because there's a lot of jargon for Git. And it can get a little confusing sometimes. So first, what is version control? So version control keeps track of a history of changes, and it allows for collaborative development. And it also lets us go back and revert to older versions of our work. You could consider Google Docs to be a type of version control, just because you can go back and forth to different points in time of like how you change things and like what things were like before. So what is Git? Git is a type of version control, and there are many others. Most of them aren't all that popular anymore, but you can look it up if you're interested in, looking into that a little more. So Git is also a distributed version control system, which means that you can work offline. So the opposite of a distributed version control system would be a centralized version control system. And that would mean you need to be online to make any changes and like work together with other people. So what's the difference between Git and GitHub? So Git is the version control, so it keeps track of your source code and history, whereas GitHub is a cloud-based hosting service that helps you manage Git repositories. So if you've heard of something like Bitbucket is another cloud-based hosting service, and it is something that you can use Git with. Anyway, we're going to stick with Git and GitHub because that's the most popular, and also what we personally like to use here at NW. So another thing you need to know, what's a repository? So a repository is known as a repo for short. It's where Git stores the metadata and object database for the project, and each developer has a copy of the code in a local repo on their machine, and most likely a remote repo on a server. So you have, the stuff that you're working on your computer, just on your hard drive or something like that. And then like having it up on the server is, you would have to kind of like make sure to push it up there. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But you kind of put it up into the cloud so that other people can access your changes and stuff like that. Okay, so that was a whole lot of terminology, and we're going to take a break and talk about why it matters, because that's a really important thing to kind of motivate why we're actually doing this in the first place. So why use Git? Here I'll take a look at the Discord, but I want to ask how you collaborate without Git. So if you've ever worked on a coding project with a friend, what have you done if you didn't use Git? Okay, I'm gonna go and see. Here we are. Yeah, if any of you want to type anything in, it's cool if you don't, but I'll wait for maybe 1 or 2 responses. I see Maggie's typing. Emailed files back and forth with a partner. I think it's actually honestly not a bad one, just a little bit tedious, but at least, you get everything intact. Yeah, well, Maggie's typing again. Thanks, everyone. Messenger, I've definitely done that. Google Drive to download everything. Yeah. Okay, so those are really good examples. And I had some that I came up with before this as well. Messenger, as Maggie mentioned, emailing instead of files, I did just copy paste into the email. And then also I've heard like one of my group partners said he was in like another project group where they just like copy pasted everything into one Google Doc. And yeah, so one thing is like these work, but they're not amazing, right? Like, first of all, like in the Google Docs one, yes, you do technically have a type of version control sort of, but like it doesn't work specifically for code. You have to reformat everything once you like paste it into your file that you need to run. And then like it's just like this whole big thing. And then like something like email files, like emailing back and forth, you need to compare to see like you either have to work on them like completely separately. So like one person works on a bunch of stuff, sends it over, but like, and then the next person works on it, right? But like this means that you have to set like arbitrary deadlines and like it's just like otherwise you'd have to like look through every single line of code and see what's different. And that's just not very practical. So Git makes collaborating a lot easier, and we're going to go back to learning about it, but I guess for this slide, I also want to say that like the way that it does make it easier is that like you can work on things at the same time with other people. Obviously like different parts of things, because if you're working on the same thing, it's not gonna help you like magically resolve and decide who should be correct. But you can work on the same project at the same time and also like receive people's changes and stuff when you're kind of ready to receive them. So yeah, we're gonna go back to explaining it. So there are 3 stages of a Git file. There is modified, so it means it's been changed, but it's not stored in repo yet. Staged, so you mark that this goes into the next commit to be stored into the repo. And committed, which means it's already been stored in the repo. So committing is sort of like a snapshot. So when you commit, Git like saves a picture of what your files look like. So a way to kind of explain what's different about this is that, sorry, excuse me, other version control systems just kind of tack on what the changes were to the original file. But Git kind of takes literally a snapshot of what it is in that moment. So we can see here, like, we made the same changes to this original file or like this original kind of bunch of text, but this one just kind of adds on like what those changes were to that original file, and you kind of stack all these changes onto that original thing. And then for Git, you're really looking at it in the moment. Like you don't care what it looked like before. It just takes a picture of like what it was at that point. So yeah, that's kind of all we need to know about Git and GitHub for right now. So let's get started. So we have code snippets. I'll send them to the chat because I'm not sure if the TAs have them actually. So I can slowly walk through like what this means, but basically with every step that I'm going to go through, there are code snippets that you can copy paste into your own terminal or whatever. So there it is. And we are going to get started. I'm actually going to go through it with you. So I am here on Visual Studio Code. I've opened it up. I'm zoomed in, but let me know if I need to zoom in further. Maybe I'll do a little bit more. And what I'm going to do is open up the terminal from here. If you're comfortable with using terminal, feel free to just open that on your own and follow along that way. I just wanted to use VS Code because this is easier for people who haven't ever, it looks a little less scary than like traditional terminal looks. So we're going to open up terminal. In Mac, it means I go up to here for this bar to come down, and then I'm going to open up this terminal menu, and then I'm going to click new terminal, which is the first thing on the menu. So I'll go over that again. You just look for the terminal button, I guess. You open up that menu and then you click new terminal. So you can see that my terminal has opened, just a little thing. This thing here, this %, yours might be a $sign. It basically just like splits up like what file, or sorry, like directory path you're in and like what command you're writing. It just makes things less confusing. So we're going to start by checking if Git is installed correctly. So what we do for that is just git -- version. And I have it installed. If you don't have it installed yet, that usually does the trick. So yeah, you just do git -- version to check if it's installed correctly. To configure Git, so we want to configure Git because we want to make sure that your contributions can be identified. So if you have a GitHub account already, which you should for this workshop, actually, I'll show you what this actually means because I think it makes a lot more sense when you see it. So on your profile, you have like this thing that shows like how many contributions you've made. I don't have that many because I haven't been doing that much stuff, but it's good. It looks nice. People like to use it to kind of show that they're like doing stuff. So yeah, you want your contributions to show up on your GitHub because I've had things happen where I like made a lot of contributions, but it didn't show up because like I didn't configure my Git on my laptop to say that all of these commits were from me and my email. So anyway, that is a little explanation on that little element of the tech world. But to configure Git, we do git config -- global user.name and then your name in quotes. So Joice for me, and that should be good, I think. And then we want to configure our emails. So then we do git config -- global user.email, and then we write our email. So then this one's mine. And then that should be configured. So, obviously right now we don't know whether or not it worked or not. So to check our Git configs, we do git config -- list, and it just lists all the configured things that you have. We have the name and the email right there. So that's perfect. So from here, let's actually get into using Git fully. So we want to create a new repository. This is doable from your computer, but it's easier to start it off in GitHub. So we're going to be creating a special repo today to give your profile some personality. So you can see on mine, I have this thing here. It's a little description of who I am and what I like and stuff like that. This is what we're going to be doing today. So what I'm going to do, technically I have mine already, but you can follow the same steps as me. So I'm going to start from the home page because I think that's easier for everyone. You can either click this green new button, or you can click this plus up here and click new repository. So then what we want to do is make a repository with the same name as our usernames. So mine is JOITNG, so that's what I'm going to name this repository. Technically, it already exists for me, but I'm just going to be going through the steps with you. So, it'll say you found a secret, it's a special repository, and you can use it to add a README to your GitHub profile. So yeah, perfect. we want to make sure it's public because, we want people to be able to see this information. And I think like Git won't let you do that unless it's public. And then we're going to click add a README file. So this is like where you're going to be writing the information that you want to share with the world. And yeah, so make sure you click that and then you click create repository. I can't click it because I already have it, but yeah, I'll go through this a little bit again because I just want to give people a little more time to like do it. Repository name should be same as your username. You want to make it public and you want to initialize the repository with a README file. So after you get that done, let's pretend like I could click that. I think it opens up the repository, but we're going to look for it. I got it here. So then we want to clone the repo, which means we want to basically download it onto our computers. So you would click this code button, this green code button, make sure it's set on HTTPS, and then click this clipboard button to just copy it to your clipboard. I'll go over that again. So we're in a repository. It should be the one that has the same name as your username. So it should kind of look like this, where it's like the same thing. You click this code button, make sure it's on HTTPS, click clipboard to copy it, and then we're going to go back to our terminal. So from here, what we do to clone the repo onto your computer, we do git clone, and then we paste the link in. So yeah, now you've created a folder on your computer that you can work on locally, so you don't have to be online to do it. So yeah, again, git clone, and then the link that you just copy pasted from GitHub. So now we're in this file. So now let's navigate to the folder. So I'm gonna go File, Open. I actually don't know where I put it. Oh, right here. Navigate to it. So find it in your file navigator and then open it up. Very zoomed in. And then on the side, there's this file explorer thing. Click on the README, and then it'll show kind of the stuff that you can edit. So I'll give you all 10 minutes to write what you'd like to share with the world. A good place to start is just uncommenting this. So the comments are the arrows for READMEs. And then writing this out, or you can write out whatever you want. But yeah, I'll give you around 10 minutes, maybe 7 if everyone seems to be doing okay. And then we'll get back to it. So this is also a little break in case you need to catch up or ask me any questions. And it'd be great if you could react in the Zoom to let me know if the workshop speed has been okay so far. And yeah, when you're done writing what you want, make sure you save it. So you just do, Command or Control S to do that. I'm going to go back to the Discord. So if you have any questions there, I can try to answer. Okay. Yeah, what Maggie said. I mean, Maggie's already answered the questions that are being asked, so that's awesome. Yeah, I guess I'll time it for 7 minutes. It seems kind of nice. Oh, GitHub Desktop. Yes, GitHub Desktop is a great way to use Git. When I was first starting out at my first co-op, that was what really helped me understand it and like really use it in a way that was like productive for me. I can actually show everyone what that looks like. Wait, I'll just wait for these other comments. But yeah, I'm sure you already use it, but I can show it to everybody else while we're waiting for everyone to kind of wrap things up. Oh, okay. Having trouble finding where the clone repo. That's a big mood. So I think, have you tried just searching for it? I know that like you probably have, but if you haven't yet, um, I don't know, make sure you're maybe in a higher level file and then search and then wait for it to pop up and then open it. That's the nice thing about file navigators, at least. One thing about that actually that I forgot to mention was that if you're cloning something, you can choose to clone it into a specific folder. So what I like to do is like cd into the folder. So that means you like go into it from your terminal. So let's say like I want to go into my documents one. Oh, okay. Oh no, because I'm inside my repo folder. You see this? This means I'm in that folder. But what you can do is like cd into another one. So like now I'm inside my documents folder, and then I have a GitHub folder inside of that, and you can do like the git clone blah 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 inside of here. And then you know where it is. But I also cloned it right at the very top. This dot dot just means I'm going backwards, like into the higher level folder in that file path. The repo you're cloning, it's just the special repository on GitHub. So if you have ever made like just make a repo on your own GitHub and then name it the same as your username, and that should be the right repo. And make sure to clone it with a README file. And yeah, you might already have it. If you already have it, just make sure you have it on your computer. I'll show everyone GitHub desktop. Oh wait, what am I doing? There we go. So yeah, oh, this is for my personal website. Okay, this is what GitHub desktop looks like. It'll show you like the history of like what you changed for each commit, which is pretty awesome. And then it'll also show you what the changes you made were. Like everything's just a lot easier to access because it is like a graphical user interface, right? You can see all your branches here, and like the one thing is that once you get into more like intermediate Git territories, there's like stuff you can't do, but generally like for the basics, it's really, really great. And that's usually what you're doing anyway. So yeah, it's a great thing to use to help with your Git journey. A lot of files and directories that are called the same thing. Do you wanna, if you look for the README, that might help. Like, so the file that's inside that folder, that might help a lot. It's readme.md, if that helps. I think Jess might be typing in something to help out as well, but yeah. Yeah, that works too. You can just clone it again. Cool emojis. Honestly, I think for these ones, oh, if you want them to show up for your thing, you just, yeah, take away these arrow things to uncomment. Otherwise, honestly, whenever I need emojis, I just look them up on the internet because you can copy paste them from Google. I think that's a very inefficient way to do it. I'm sure, like, I also know, like on Mac, you can have that keyboard show up, or sometimes it shows up on your touch bar, but yeah. Ah, okay. We learned something new. Awesome. So about 1 more minute left to make changes to your README file, and then we're gonna get back to it. Yeah, just edit it however you want. It's just kind of an example. You can make a tiny little change. I think I'm just gonna change punctuation. All we need is a change so that we can commit that change. I think I've made like a punctuation switch on mine like 3 times by now because this is my 3rd time doing this workshop. Okay, about 30 seconds. Make any changes you want. Okay, so that's it for time, but I see some people are typing. I'm gonna let the TAs handle things because I think they know fairly well what to do. But yeah, it should just be like you have your folder, which has the same name as your username, and then you have this README file inside your folder. And all we want to do is make sure that we've navigated to inside the folder. So one thing is that in your terminal, make sure that you have your username here because that means you're inside that folder with your username. So let me make a little change. There we go, punctuation change. I think once I took away the comma from in front of the or. Anyway, that's my little change. VS Code actually shows you what changes you've made here at the side, this branch thing. But we're gonna use terminal today, right? So first thing is that now that I've saved it, I want to see what the differences are between my working directory and my local repo. So like basically the changes I've made and also like what Git says I've already committed. So I do git status, and then it tells me that I've modified this README file that's like inside this folder. Perfect, amazing. And then that's it. That's all we needed to know. So now we want to stage the changes. So remember what I said before, staging means that you're telling the system basically that you intend to commit it later on. It's something that's like easier to undo, I guess, so that's why we do it. So what we can do is git add dot, which means the dot means you're staging all of your files in this folder. If you wanted to only stage a specific file, you would do this. Like you would have that specific file name there. Otherwise, yeah, there are a couple things that you can do for that in terms of how many files you want to stage. That's in the code snippets if you want a better look. So now we're going to make a commit, and we just do git commit -m and then our message. So I'll just say workshop changes. Oh, I always use the wrong quote. I think the single quote works better for this. But yeah, you just do git commit -m and then whatever message you want to say. So remember, you have to do a git add first, and then you do git commit. So now we want to push our commit. And what does this mean? We didn't really talk about that in the steps before, right? But pushing your commit means pushing your changes up to the remote repository. So you're pushing it into the cloud. And it's possible for you to wait and push several commits at once. if that's more your style, but I think most people prefer kind of pushing and committing like together, because it's just nice to have everything up in the cloud, you know? So all we need to do is git push, and that's good. So quick review of these basic steps that are very, very important to using Git. You just do git add dot to add all of your files. Use the file name if you only want to add one, but most of the time you want to just add all of them, and like it'll like commit the changes that to like it'll only really stage the files that have been changed. Git commit, and then we want to do a git push. Where'd that go? Git push. And those are the basic steps to Git. So a couple more things. Actually, there's still a lot more, but that's the most important thing you need to know. If there's like anything I want you to walk away from this with, I want you to know git add dot git commit dash m with like a little quoted message and git push. So next we want to show all the commits that we've made up to this point. So we do a git log. And you see, like, this is the last one that I made. If we go back, it would show more, but this is, we just wanted to see the most recent one. So we just, actually, I think we can use arrow down to look at all the other ones on this file. But yeah, remember to press Q after this, because it kind of goes into your commits and like lists them, and you have to make sure to let it know that you're like getting out of that list. So I'll show you again in case you get stuck. So if you're in git log and you're like, oh no, like nothing I'm typing is working, you just do Q when you're done, and it'll be back to your regular terminal. So I'm gonna flash back to our slides for a moment. Oop. Yes. So how is this better than Google Docs? Okay, let's talk about branches. So branching is when you diverge from the main line of development and don't work directly on that main line. I know that doesn't make very much sense right now, so let's look at a picture. So let's say this is our main line of development. This is like what we've been working on so far. All of these commits are like sequential. They all relate to the last one, right? But here we're branching from the second commit. So sometimes, usually how this happens is like you're working with someone on something, and then you've gotten to this point and you're like, oh, we're very happy with this commit. And I want to do like my work that's separate to this. So then you would create a branch there, and then maybe this person continues on and does their work, but you start doing your work that's separate to it in this separate branch. So the stuff that this person is doing here doesn't relate to what you're doing here. So essentially it's just like being able to make changes without messing up the other person and being able to work on that at the same time. So we're going to merge them later. The benefits of branching are that they're really helpful if you're focusing on specific pieces of the project and collaborating with others. So it makes sure you don't have to do too much work to get old code back, and makes sure you can systematically solve any conflicts between you and your collaborators' code and make the best choices for the project. So like, you know, within this point, maybe you did somehow work on the same file. Maybe you were doing something and it just needed the same information, and then something was messed up and you decided to change it. But then you made different changes, and having branches and having to merge them back in forces you to think about the changes that you both made and kind of discuss what would be better for your project. So now we're going to go back to terminal. Okay, so making a new branch. You can use git branch and the name of the branch. So we're going to call it new branch, really original. So if we want to list all the branches, because, you know, we said we made this new branch, but like, did we really make it? Let's check. We do git branch to look at all of the branches we have. So I have this master branch and this new branch. So one thing about this also is that you might have a branch that's called main instead of master. It doesn't matter which one you have. It's just that Git changed its naming conventions recently, and yeah, it's just my repo is older, so my primary branch is the master branch. But if it's a little newer, I'm pretty sure it'll be called the main branch. So if we want to switch branches, so if we know right now this is like highlighted and there's a star beside it, it means that we're in the master branch right now. If we want to go to the new branch, we just do git checkout new dash branch, and that's it. So we say git checkout and then the branch name. Okay. So assuming you're all on this new branch now, if you're not, you're going to get a little bit of time to do that right now, because I just want you to add some stuff to the file on the new branch. So I'll give you 5 minutes to make a change to your README file. Like me, if you can't think of anything, just add a space or new punctuation somewhere. And then, yeah, I'll give you 5 minutes. I'll take a look at the Discord and then we'll get back to it. It seems like things are going well. Thank you to our lovely TAs. Yeah, I hope things are going well right now. So we'll just have 5 minutes to make a change. I'm just gonna change the punctuation back because that's always the easiest thing to do. Tell us about your error. We can try to fix it. I can also change the screen to something else if people just want TAs to help them. It seems like it's going really well so far, like everyone's, you know, getting the hang of it, or if anything's going wrong, the TAs really have it. So I'll switch the screen in case anyone wants their privacy. Yeah, just, okay, 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. Feels like I should do like a comedy set. Just kidding. There's like no one reacting to this. I'm just talking to myself. Yeah, maybe I'll tell a story about my experience with Git. I actually don't think I have any interesting stories about that. Yeah, no, never mind. I'll go into another feature or another way that you can use Git, and you can just listen passively in the background while I do this. But Visual Studio Code actually has a lot that you can use to kind of help you with Git, or you can just essentially use Git directly from VS Code as like using VS Code as a graphical user interface. So here you see this branch thing. This is all about Git and your version control. So it shows you like the changes you've made to, so it's like you've made a change in this file and it'll list out all the files that you've made changes from. Oops, I don't want to discard it. You click into it and look, it will show you what changes you made. So, you know, it highlights that right there, which is pretty awesome. You can click this like plus button to stage it, and then it'll have like a button to help you commit. And oh yeah, this check mark button, and then I think to push, yeah, you just open up this menu, you click push. But yeah, VS Code is really great for Git as well. that's why we're using it right now. That's why so many people use it, is that there are so many extensions and things that you can use with it. Yeah, I'll give people a little more time in case there's anything you need to catch up on, and yeah, we're at about a minute left. Oh, yeah, it's not an extension. It's just like, I think it's like embedded in it. I've always had this like at the side here, so I'm not sure what it is if you don't have it. It might be a different version than mine. It might be an appearance thing as well. Yeah, I don't know. If you can't find it and you want to use it in the future, I would say you can probably look it up. And there's someone online who's like answered it before, who knows about it much better than I do. But yeah, okay, so it's been 5 minutes. Tiny change, whatever you have, or hopefully, yeah, hopefully you've made the changes you've wanted to make. So yeah, now we've made that new change, and then we just want to git add, git commit, and git push, right? Okay, I know that I really ingrained that, or I tried to really ingrain that within like the couple minutes that we've been doing this. But one more little trick for how to do it in one go, or most of it in one go. So you can do git commit and git add at the same time. So you use this -am to do git commit and git add at the same time, because most of the time when you add, you usually want to commit too. So this is just an easier way to do it. And then, yeah, so, okay, you can do git add dot and then git commit message, oops, and then, sorry, git commit -m message, and then you can do git push. But what we wanted to do here, because we wanted to combine the add and the commit to make things easier, we just did both at the same time. Okay, then we do git push. Oh, oops. Right. So one thing about this is that your branch doesn't exist in the remote repo yet. So even if we wanted to push it, there'd be like no like location for it to push it to, because the cloud doesn't know that this branch exists yet. It only exists on your computer. So what we want to do there is you can either just copy paste this. What I usually do is just write git push and then copy paste this message. But if you want to write the whole thing out, you can do git push u origin and then new branch, or whatever your branch name is. And then that pushes that up to the remote repo. But you know, if you want it easier, you can just copy paste this. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the slides, and yeah, so now master, or not test, but our new branch is ahead of master by 1 commit, because we made this one change, and it actually hasn't happened on our master branch yet because we did it in this other branch. So if we want to merge the branches, because we have this separate right now, and we want it to show up on our profiles, we need to merge them. So what we do now, merge into, and then we say git merge new branch, because we want to say we're merging this new branch into master. So going back to that git checkout master, to go into that master branch, because that's the branch we want to merge into. And then we say, let's merge this new branch into this master branch. So from here, oops, we would have successfully merged code from the new branch into master. So you likely won't have any conflicts because we didn't make any changes to master before merging that new branch in. But sometimes you'll come across the case where you get a merge conflict because you worked on something in the same area as this other person who was working on this branch or who had already merged their changes into the branch. So then you'll have to manually edit the files and then mark them as merged with a git add. So what you would say, or what you would do is just, you'd have this merge conflict, you'd go into VS Code and it actually will show you where the conflict is. You pick which code you want to keep or like how you want that code to be, and then you mark them as merged. So then you do a git add, git commit, everything like that. So we're going to quickly go over pull requests before we end for the day. So you might want other people to review your code before you push it onto master, because sometimes the master branch is like deploying. Like it means that things are going to show up on the website. And if you accidentally break the website, that's not a great thing. So you might want other people to review it first to make sure that it looks okay and that it works properly. You might also want to share code that's incomplete. So a pull request is also a way to be like, hey, look at my code. Like it's not done yet, but I want you to look at it. Oh, and as I mentioned before, not great to push to master. So after pushing your new branch to the remote repo, you can create a pull request to merge it with master. So we're going to go make a pull request. So I'm back in this repo on GitHub. So it's the one with my name on it for both. It actually says, hey, look, you have this new branch that isn't your main branch. And it had pushes really recently. So it tells you, hey, do you want to make a pull request? Yes, we do. So we click that button. I'll go back. So yeah, this yellow box. Make sure you have that, or yeah, if you see it, click this compare and pull request thing. You can also go to this pull request tab and click compare and pull request here. So yeah, you can merge things into the master branch, but you can also merge things into another branch. Maybe you just want to merge it into a testing branch or something like that. And then you want to merge your branch, which is the new branch. This is the one that we've been doing work on, right? And it says it's able to merge, which is awesome. Sometimes it'll say that there are conflicts and you'll just have to fix them before you try to create that pull request to merge it in. So quick thing is that if you want to add reviewers, so you want to make sure specific people review your code, you would click this and type in their username, and it'll just send them an email to say that there's a pull request that someone wants them to look at. So we're going to create this pull request by clicking this green button down here that just says create pull request. Awesome. So from here, if you are the person who is reviewing a pull request, you do this. You go to that pull request. So we're in the pull request tab. We see there's a pull request. We want to review it. So then we go into the files changed tab, and then we go to review changes. And if you want to approve it, you would click, I don't think I can approve my own. Yeah. But if you want to approve it or comment on it or anything, you just click this review changes thing and you do that. But yeah, so now we have this pull request. Nothing's wrong with it. It's all good. I can't review my own pull request and I think it's perfectly fine. So I'm going to merge it in. So I click this merge pull request button, confirm merge, and then it merges it in. So now those two branches are at the same point. So we can delete the branch. Some people choose not to. It's up to your discretion. I think you can actually undelete things basically, but we're going to delete it because we don't need it anymore. Yeah, you can restore it. But yeah, that means, hey, like this branch doesn't exist anymore, and this primary branch, this master or main branch, has all of the changes that we need. So one last little thing. We did this pull request, right? And now all of our changes are in the remote repo. So it's on GitHub, but it's not on our computers, right? Like let's say like we weren't the ones to make that change in code and it was someone else and they merged their stuff in. We don't have those changes to the master branch because it's not on our computers. So what we do here, we have to make sure we do a Git pull. Just to make sure we like pull all of the changes that have been made from the remote repo. So yeah, super important if you're working with other people because they'll be updating their stuff too. So that was the last thing that we need to talk about, which is amazing. But before we go, we're just gonna look at these shortcuts and basic team workflow, just to kind of reiterate what's most important or kind of what you usually do. So you make a repo right on GitHub and you share the link with your team. The team members will use git clone with that link to clone that repo onto their computers. I actually think I should have added another step here, but you make a branch and then you work on stuff. And then when you're done working on stuff, you push with git push -u origin with that branch name to the remote. So you make sure to push that branch upstream. You make and merge the pull request. And then everyone uses Git Pull to get those changes. And then you repeat those steps over and over and over again. So yeah, that's it. Thank you all for coming. Ask any questions you have in the channel. The TAs will be happy to help you even after this, and I will hop in there as well. But that's all for today. Thank you all for coming, and I hope you've had a great time at HackCamp. At Command I've learned so far. And I will see you at closing ceremonies where we'll talk a little bit about Command F next week. Thanks, everyone.